You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
I have come here to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. A little hotter on the headphones. Welcome to BZ's Berserk, Bobcat, Saloon radio show on the SHR Media Network, where I am live and direct broadcasting in an actual free state. Me, one bulbous unit each, am your conservative Sherpa, guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. And please note, what you're about to hear for the next hour or two, or however long this goes, won't be more than 2 hours, kids. Don't worry. Fret none. Is my opinion. It consists of my opinion and my opinion only. And of course, the opinions of my guests tonight. And I have today's three guests tonight. And I want to tell you, I'm doing the job the American media maggots won't. I am fundamentally changing America one leftist diaper at a time. Right here. We don't water our drinks. Just like we don't water our conversations, we're still serving stiff drinks right here in the saloon, along with facts, history, logic, rationality, proportion, context, tradition, and common sense for actual normal people like you, like me. Politics, religion, crime, culture, economics, race, sex, science, law. We talk about it all right here in the saloon, where the speech is free, but the booze is not. And we're streaming live. Right over there, I'm looking at it right now on Rumble. We're streaming at shrmedia.com. We are streaming on 2X feeds. We're streaming on Twitch. We're streaming on Spreaker, or we will be streaming on Spreaker. And we're also on the SHR Media YouTube channel. And so thanks to everybody for being here tonight. Along with me, I have a cast of literally thousands of people. Why don't I put in a calm, serene background that will assuage everyone, all the leftists who have stress right now, and perhaps if you're a leftist at this point, namaste, please. Namaste, center. Think center. And just in with the nose, out with the mouth. Grasshopper. Think kind thoughts. And with that, here's my guest. This is the gentleman over to my left, your right, his up and my down. And that's Alan Thomas, who happens to be over here. There we go. Alan Thomas.
Hi, everyone.
You have a live mic.
It is good to be here.
It is good to be seen, and it's good to be here. And, of course, we have Jeremy Hanson right there of Jeremy Hanson. What happened to Jeremy Hanson? There was something that occurred to him. What was it that occurred to Jeremy Hanson? He was unleashed.
Well, I'm still unleashed. It's hey, you know,
because you were never leased. Leased? Were you leased, or were you simply reasonable? Okay. Also, Jack Alexander. There he is.
Hello, I love you. Let's get tested for AIDS. You know, I love you, but you can't tell these days. How you doing, everyone?
All right. So for those of you who just tuned in, I hurled the gauntlet down to the desk. I said, Jack, I challenge you. Will you actually sing that song? And he did. He did. He came here and he actually sang the song. So kudos to you for that. Geez, I have got so much for everyone tonight. And thanks to Alan Thomas, who's actually in the studio right here. I'm actually pointing in the right direction. I'm trainable. I can learn things. And that's Alan Thomas over there. And diagonally, that's Jeremy Hanson. And directly below is Jack Alexander, who will produce shows for a green card. Now, I'm going to play later on tonight an individual who says it wants to go to Australia. So right now, my attorneys and his attorneys are working on an exchange program to send this bizarre little unit.
If only it worked that way.
To Australia. So far, I've spent at least $12,000 today just attempting to do that. So before we begin, for those of you, oh, damn it, Jim, I forgot. Hello to all the people at KLRN Radio. That's KLRN Radio, sourcing out of the fine state of Oklahoma, and who also carried me and carried me on the election night coverage, which was here. We were on for almost 9 hours on election night. And sadly, Earl Jackson almost fell asleep, but that's because he's so far ahead. He was on Central Time and the rest of us are working on Pacific Time. Poor Earl. Oh, and Earl had his first show today on SHR. So go to shrmedia.com. Quick like a bunny now. And well, after the show, okay, you're going to be here watching me, I assume, and all of my wonderful guestesses, plural. Go to shrmedia.com after the show, and you can watch Earl's show. And so what I'd like to do before we begin with the shenanigans, Alan Thomas, could you give people here just a brief CV over who you are? And you also have a YouTube channel. So can you tell people a wee bit about you, mate?
Sure. I've been podcasting for, I don't know, since YouTube, actually before, right? Live stream and doing all kinds of stuff, had lots of following and retired. And now I chase Bigfoots, UFOs, ghosts, Dogman, and then have fun as a guest host and guest on other podcasts. And you can find me on YouTube at Squatch Zone, and I'll be breaking into Rumble here real soon. Same thing, Squatch Zone. And I hope everybody's having a good evening. We're all real happy right now. Something happened this week. Oh, man, I'm excited.
That's odd because if, in my estimation, I think that's what we're here to talk about. And like I say, oh, folks, do I have some buttery political goodness for you tonight. And again, thanks for watching. Jeremy Hanson, tell everyone a little bit about yourself down there, sir.
Well, I'm Jeremy Hanson. I'm Unleashed Jeremy Hanson. You can find me on Spreaker. I still haven't decided what I'm doing with video. But, you know, I'm pretty much everywhere. I'm on Pandora. I'm on, if there's podcasts there, I live there somewhere. It's funny. I still, literally, I haven't put a political podcast out in quite a while. And the week leading up to this election, I had like 22,000 views on old stuff. So, I mean,
cool.
It kind of kicked it in. You know what? Hang on. I got to change this a little bit because I'm feeling it a little bit today, if you know what I mean. I feel like my old self because there was an indictment against a whole damn party yesterday, and I absolutely loved it.
Well, the other thing is when you do that with the hat, I don't know if you know this or not, but that makes you more streamlined.
It does. It does. That
wind resistance
going around me.
That's right. It was a negation of tons of stuff. And again, will we ever get into that? And then directly right here, the flying fickle finger of fate, Jack Alexander. How are you, sir? And tell people just a wee bit about you too.
Well, as you can tell by the accent, I come from the deep south.
How deep?
As in south of the equator, and I don't mean Mexico. Uh, I'm a freelance journalist. I was a podcaster up until the events of COVID. I'm a military veteran. I started one of Australia's first 24-hour streaming radio stations when streaming first began here. I bleed red, white, and blue. My maternal grandfather was U.S. Army. When I was living in the United States, I was involved with the U.S. Air Force Auxiliary in the Civil Air Patrol. And I desperately want to come back to the U.S. I desperately want my U.S. citizenship. And the closest I have at the moment, considering everything that's going on, is this. This is my confirmation letter that I have officially entered the green card lottery for the year. That's the only option I have left unless I can get an employer to sponsor me to come back.
Sadly.
And it's almost incredible for me to do that, because during COVID, I was being hunted by local law enforcement because of the media coverage I was giving and documenting the police violence that was going on during COVID. They managed to get my YouTube channel deleted. So 20 years of podcasts down the shitter.
Nice.
All because the Victoria Police did not want the bad reputation. And now their officers, some of their officers are actually up on civil cases, but the media here do not want to cover what's going on here.
So I'm curious about that. Now that you mention it, and everybody in here is a member of social media, did whatever jurisdiction that was somehow contact YouTube and ask or demand that they take you down?
Yes.
And that was achieved. They got what they wanted.
They used a couple of parts of Australia's terrorism laws to have my channel deleted. There was two things. There's the Sedition in Media Act, part of the terrorism laws here, and there's also incitement, which is what they charged almost everyone else with, including a pregnant woman for posting on Facebook.
You terrorist inciter. How dare you? I did forget one thing. I forgot this.
It's a magical step into the future. Tomorrow's news today with Australia's Jack Alexander here in the Berserk Bobcat Saloon.
That's a new one.
No, actually, that's an old one. Speaking of an old one, now that I'm in the mainframe right here, I have something grandiose in order to play for everyone. Now, what I'd like to do tonight is would it shock you that we're going to hear something about Chicago at the beginning? And would it shock anybody here that we're going to hear something which may be a happy story? And would it shock anybody that following happy stories, we might be hearing about mental cases? And would it shock anybody that I have so many things to show you that I don't have sufficient tabs over here on the right side, of course, the right side of my 49-inch huge Samsung monitor right here. I had to put up just one tab, and I'm just going to start at the appropriate point in my X feed, and we're just going to go up from there, and all of us will all be laughing at leftists. Oh, also, damn, I want to tell everyone, if you would, please go into the chat room. If you're in Rumble, go in there and hit live chat. If you're in the YouTube right now, if you're watching in YouTube, there should be a chat in there. And for those of you who are there, let's see if I can find it. I have a new photograph of my chat room. Now, I can show you what my old chat room used to look like. No, I can't. Actually, I had it repainted. Okay. My old chat room is gone. Now my new chat room looks like this. So I've foregone a lot of the couches for one big. This is plush. Now, if you look at that right now, folks, and you don't tell me that that appears to be 100% plush to you, I don't know what to tell you. I also have various armchairs in the shape of a Bigfoot, Sasquatch, all around there. So jump into my plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room while you're here. And also to everybody who happens to be in the chat right now. Sean is in chat. Squatch is in chat. Reaver is in chat. Joshua is in chat. SHR Media is in chat. Let's see, I'm missing somebody. Jeremy is in chat. Oh gosh, I know Cheetah is in chat. I knew that. And there's somebody else. Boston Matt is in chat. And that's why you're here, Boston Matt, in chat, because it rhymes. Okay, very nicely done. Nicely played. And tonight, the theme is, should I take a victory lap after November 5th? Because I was told by various forms of leftists, I shouldn't be doing that. How can you crow so completely and wonderfully like I'm going to tonight? And so it's actually not a question. The thing is, yeah, I'm going to crow like a mother coming up a little bit later. But first, I have to start. I somehow managed. I love the internet. I'm 74 and I still manage to be, I can still access the internet. But there's the dark web. And on the dark web, if you know where to go, you can find certain things. I found a speech from Joe Vegetable, and I snagged it just for tonight's show. So I'd like to play that for everyone right now. This was made sub rosa only to a very select few individuals and his friends who spent a lot of money. And so this is what Joe has to say.
My fellow Americans and autists who voted for Trump, it's your boy Dank Brandon here. I want to take a moment to congratulate the DNC on losing another election to Donald Trump. You replaced me with a candidate who has the same likability as Greasy, hobo taint, and expected to win. And they say I'm the retarded one. The Democrats said that I was too old, that I was too slow, that I was a joke. Well, here's a joke for you. What do Willie Brown and the 2024 presidential election have in common? Kamala Harris blew both of them. I shouldn't have said that. But seriously, I mean, first Hillary loses to Donald and now Kamala. This man has beaten more women than Doug Emhoff. Anyways, congrats on losing to Hitler again. I hope he locked you all up this time. Dank Brandon out.
Now, see, aren't you glad that you see the entertainment value that I provide was given to you free up front right there. There is no paywall. You guys that are watching right now, all of you in all the various forms in which we're streaming, see, that should make your entertainment value right there up front. See, unlike other shows, I give you the good meat right at the very beginning, but it very well could be getting better. So, let's see if I have, oh, look at that. I do have something for everyone right now. Let's see what's next.
The bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago death toll update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every autocrat in the 50 wards.
So welcome to HeyJackass.com, HeyJackass.com, illustrating Chicago values. November to date, in the lovely city of Chicago, shot and killed 10, shot and wounded 40, total shot 50, total homicides 10, week in progress, November 3rd to November the 9th, shot and killed 9, shot and wounded 27, total shot 36, total homicides 9. Year to date, shot and killed 474, shot and wounded 2,214, total shot 2,688, and total homicides 533. In the city of Chicago, the city of big shoulders, the place where guns are proscribed, a person is shot every 2 minutes and 47 seconds, and a person is murdered every 14 minutes in the city of Chicago. It's my kind of town.
The bloviating Zeppelins, HeyJackass.com Chicago death toll update. Courtesy of every leftist running that city. From the mayor, police chief, and every autocrat in the 50 wards.
Now, I have what I call various departments in my show, and here happens to be another one.
It's time for happy stories and good times.
Here's a happy story. This is from the Daily Mail. Now, North Korea, you may or may not know, has sent troops into Russia in order to fight Ukrainians. This says North Korean troops gunned down their own Russian comrades after shooting in the wrong direction in latest frontline humiliation from Putin. North Korea, go ahead. It's there. I know. North Korean troops sent aid to Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine. They gunned down their own Russian comrades after shooting in the wrong direction, a captured Russian soldier has said and claimed. Here's another happy story. Trump's biggest courtroom nemesis is looking for an exit strategy. 75 days, that's how long special counsel Jack Smith has to figure out how to unwind his unprecedented efforts to put former and future President Donald Trump in prison. Probably NGH, not going to happen. Smith's 2 cases against Trump. One for conspiring to overturn the 2020 election. The other for hoarding classified documents and obstructing justice, were doomed the moment the 2024 race was called. Look, I may have another happy story. This just in, as we were talking about, the DOJ and Jack Smith, it looks like their cases are going to get vacated.
Yeah, Chris, it's not a surprise that these cases can't go forward when Donald Trump takes office. What's interesting here is that the DOJ is moving to end them even before he takes office, citing the long-standing DOJ policy that sitting presidents can't be prosecuted. And there was some thought that maybe special counsel Jack Smith was going to sprint through the finish line, was going to work up until the last day, force Trump to fire him, wait till a new attorney general was appointed. But that does not appear to be the thinking inside the department. The thinking is that these cases can't go forward.
That's so sad. Anybody have any comments up to this point? Anyone? Bueller?
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was
stop. I'm asking my guests right now. Anybody? Any thoughts besides laughter?
I'm just wondering whether he's going to be able to continue practicing law. I've heard talk that, and I don't know enough about the American Bar Association, but to comment adequately, but I've heard that his investigation violated enough stuff that if a complaint was made to the Bar Association, his license to practice law could go down the toilet.
If you guys were listening, this was, I think, Jeremy, you might know, this might have been about 3-4 weeks ago, maybe a month, right around in there, where these people were attempting to make their case in front of SCOTUS. And at the end, following some of the questions from the jurists, the attorneys who appeared before SCOTUS in order to sink and shoot down Donald Trump were wondering if they themselves were going to have their licenses after they left. I found that kind of amusing myself as well.
That was actually an appellate court.
And thank you. See, I knew you'd know.
Yeah,
Thanks for backing me.
They were so pissed. The judges in that appellate court were so pissed. They said, they gave him like 10 chances. Can you find any other time in history that this type of thing has happened? Can you find any? I mean, they gave him like 10 different things and they could come up with nothing. And the appellate court said, you know what? This is a political prosecution. You guys did go after him because of political motive. And the attorney stopped right there. And basically, I'm going to, surmise what they said.
You'll paraphrase.
Yes, it's a good paraphrase. Please don't put us in jail. And we're sorry.
First of the night.
That's the best paraphrase that I can do. But that's exactly what happened. So they haven't even came back and ruled on that yet. So that's a big thing that's going to come. That those felonies, those 34 felonies, say goodbye. And then if I was Trump, I would mount the biggest, awesome civil defense team ever. And I would go and I would sue their proverbial balls off. And, it'd just be another win. Like, that would make me feel good, because I don't care if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican. It shouldn't happen to anybody.
No.
It should not happen. Justice is too important for people to allow them to use it like it's Play-Doh and mold it the way that they want to go after something they want instead of the law.
And the funny thing is that when leftists accuse you, Democrats, leftists accuse you of doing something, they're doing the exact same thing to you, conservatives, Republicans, only worse. So this is 34 counts. Remember, the tale right now is convicted felon. Well, you don't really get to become a convicted felon unless you're sentenced. Do I hear a sentence in the background? Anyone? Bueller, Lassie, Timmy went down the well. Anyone? I don't see that in the future. Well, let's continue with this. This also is a happy
Robert F.
story.
Kennedy Jr., who was reportedly promised a health role in Donald Trump's White House, says he will root out, quote, corruption in the Food and Drug Administration. Here he is in an interview with MSNBC.
There are entire departments, like the nutrition departments at FDA, that have to go. That are not doing their job. They're not protecting our kids. Why do we have Fruit Loops in this country that have 18 or 19 ingredients? And you go to
Oh, for a second there, I thought he wasn't talking about cereal.
Canada and it's got 2 or 3.
It's unclear what Kennedy's job under Trump would be. The former presidential candidate didn't rule out Secretary of Health and Human Services, which heads the FDA.
I know what his job would be. KATN, kick ass and take names. That's a happy story. I'm pretty sure of that. God, now we're going to go back to California. And the place that I left, besides being an absolute and complete shit show, let's go with, do I want to do this one first? No, let's do this. There are some personnel in California who appear to be on their way out. They were appointments funded by the person you know and love, George Soros. This is from ABC 7 News. Mayor Sheng Tao, DA Pamela Price appear to be on the way out in recall elections. And this is from Oakland. In the East Bay, voters are currently in favor of recalling 2 of the highest profile politicians. Both of them, opining right now, are pieces of crap. Both the recalls of Alameda County DA Pamela Price and Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao are leading 65% to 35%. Would it shock you to hear and know that those will not be known? The final tallies will not be known for some time after that. Would it also shock anybody to know that California has said something similar to, we won't know the results of this stupid election for maybe a week or so? Here's another happy story. This is down in Los Angeles. A guy named Nathan Hochman wins the LA DA race, beating that piece of leftist crap, George Gascon, who turned the entire DA's office upside down, had DAs quitting, and was letting people off for murdering people, etc. What the DA whose job it was to enforce law decided what laws he wasn't going to enforce, which was pretty much most of them. That's a happy story. Here's also near me, there's a guy named Tim Sheehy. Now, I'm in Idaho, I'm in North Idaho. And I happen to be in Kootenai County. And in Nome, Idaho, next to me, to the east of Idaho, is Montana, like Tony Montana. And this doofus named John Tester was a Democrat. Now, how Montana ended up electing a Democrat, I don't really know. But the cool thing about this, the cool story, is that now this guy who was a Navy SEAL and a Republican named Tim Sheehy kicked John Tester to the curb. This is also something that just came out maybe about an hour or 2 ago. I consider this definitely to be a happy story. New York City is ending the voucher program that allowed migrant families to buy their own food. In other words, New York City, naturally, was funding all of this. And New York City has announced it will no longer issue vouchers to migrants, illegal invaders. It's
criminal invaders.
Criminal invaders, thank you. It's how you quantify this. To pay for food, ending a controversial program that had repeatedly come under attack by conservatives and others. Dang it. Okay, I am late. I'm late for a very important date. Folks, I have neglected to watch the time, and with that, we'll be right back after this. Hey, if you need to go potty, now's the time.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Come listen to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show. Live on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Rumble channel, SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, Spreaker, and wherever great conservative podcasts are found. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, guides you through the maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Raised as a free-range child with dirt, stains, mud, and freedom, BZ broadcasts from North Idaho, comfortably surrounded by actual normal people. Jump into our plush, sumptuous, palatial, and resplendent chat room on rumble.com. Click on live chat to join. Now, with 37% more umbrage and 19% more bulbosity than previous shows, featuring delicious Liberty additives for the best in late-night Conservatarian talk radio. BZ reminds you that with great beard comes great responsibility. No chinchillas were harmed, embarrassed, fat-shamed, or the focus of any sarcasm whatsoever in the making of this ad.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here's Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? Coming in November to SHR Media. By way of Big E Jackson, you need to check out Mission Ready Men. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man, as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson, coming this November on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. I'm nationwide. I'm BZ. let's introduce all of the other people who are here. Tonight we have Alan Thomas. We also have Jeremy Hanson. We have Jack Alexander. And look, he will produce for a green card. And thanks to Rick, who is in the chat room tonight from KLRN. Appreciate that. Jan is in the chat room. Thank you very much for being there. Boston Matt is in the chat room. Cheetah and Squatch Zone and Jeremy Hanson, of course. Ricky Robinson from KLRN. I mentioned him, but I'm going to mention him again. Sean is in there. And thanks to everybody. Did I miss? Oh, Cold Warrior is in there. Damn, I almost missed you. Sorry. Great apologies to that. And Jack, I didn't talk to you. I didn't introduce you. Nothing like that. What happened?
No, I'm in the chat room.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay. Sorry. I apologize for that. And we were doing some happy stories. Here's something that everyone intuited, and that's this. Remember this dude, because this dude is a dude. Dude looks like a lady. No, Aerosmith has got nothing on this guy. Didn't everybody intuit when you saw this unit walk out go, what? What? That's not a chick. And yet that guy is boxing chicks. Well, turns out, wait a minute. Turns out that you were right if you thought that's what was happening. Algerian boxer Imane Khalif has XY chromosomes and testicles. French Algerian medical report admits you knew that. You saw that. You loved it. You knew that was going to happen. Oh, let's go here.
I'm trying to figure out how he actually competed for the Algerian team, considering
I know where you're going.
The religion of peace is the dominant one over there, and people of heterosexual persuasion come with a death sentence. So they usually get thrown off of buildings or whatever. Or is this just another way that the religion of peace is basically beating the shit out of women?
Well, that's true. What do we got?
Well, that was kind of an indictment on that, because you got to have some sanity to understand the difference between male and female sports, what type of advantage. I was talking with Rob Carson, and he's like, look what they've done to American sanity. And I was like, hey, you're right about that. I mean, if you actually step back and look, things that we take for granted, like the party that's supposedly fighting for women's rights can't actually give you a definition of what a woman is. It's something so basic, but we can't even get that from them. Does that bother you guys?
Yeah.
Well, see, this was a referendum, a real slap in the face, in my opinion, to everything that the Democrats, leftists, and globalists have been shoving down our throats for at least the past 4 years and before that. And the worm is beginning to turn on two major factors, which is why November 5th for me was so wonderful. Okay, well, let's get rid of the Electoral College. That's the first thing that needs to go, is the Electoral College, says leftists. Well, Trump wins the Electoral College. Well, that's validation. Let's just get rid of the Electoral College because he won that. And then he went ahead, and Jeremy knows where I'm going. Then he won the popular vote. And I'm sure next up to bid will be, we need to get rid of voting. Why do we need elections? Let's just take charge and make everybody do what leftists and Democrats and globalists demand that we do. And this is how we got here. The leftist cabal of the DNC has for years, they have intentionally covered up the incompetence and decrepitude of an old dude solely to ensure that Bernie Sanders would not achieve the presidency. That's how Joe Biden, Joe Vegetable, got there. Sanders, if there's one thing that you can say about Bernie Sanders, is that he is who he is. He's a Democrat socialist. He's not going to change. He won't change for an audience. He is who he says he is, and you have to take him on his word. That's, on some level, I kind of respect that. And he's not going to change. That was his tune then, now, and it will be his tune in the future. So when he said that his intent was to stop the corruptive torrent of cash into all sorts of political coffers, they, DNC and the Democrats, realized he could be allowed nowhere near Oval Office power. That guy was going to shoot them down in flames like a bad ME-109, and they knew it from the very get-go. The Democrats finally realized that, and they then took his words to heart. They couldn't afford to have the cash taps, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. No, they like lefty-loosey. They don't want it righty-tighty, much less potentially turned off entirely by Bernie Sanders. So what occurred is that Joe Vegetable, my moniker, okay, it's my show, he was selected as the proverbial empty suit, the dancing puppet who was at the end of the Barack Hussein Obama, Valerie Jarrett, Susan Rice, Ron Klain strings, anybody, Alan, Jeremy, Jack, am I leaving anybody out at this point?
There's a lot of them. Eric Holder,
okay. I knew I was going to end up eventually leaving some of these guys out, but I always go back to two quotes from Barack Hussein Obama himself. And Obama, the last article that I read, last time I read this particular article, and this quote that I'm going to give, I counted the paragraphs in this article before this quote was revealed. So naturally, it might have been the Washington Post or the New York Slimes. I'm not quite sure. But I counted, it was 17 paragraphs down before you read this quote from Barack Obama. Don't underestimate Joe Biden's ability to fuck things up. Oh, it was Politico. That's where I think it was. As an aside, the other thing is the Obamas and the Bidens have never really been what I would consider to be the best of friends. Steve Forbes explained that, and that's why I think you have to kind of read between the lines. And if you catch him on a semi-cogent day, I believe that Joe Biden was embracing a certain amount of schadenfreude when Harris was shot down, because in some fashion, he said to someone, following just a big boost of Xanax, which I'm sure Tampon is experiencing these days since November 5th. I heard he had a case of Xanax shipped in by a little boy, but I know nothing about that. Let's just stop with the innuendo right there. BZ, stop. Don't go there. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will be here for the next hour. So following that, they knew that it couldn't be Bernie Sanders. It had to be Joe Biden. Joe Biden had schadenfreude. You can't convince me otherwise. And I think that was ably abetted by Jill Biden as well. Jill Biden is the largest, in my opinion, adult abuser on the planet, and did it in public. That's a story for another day. And then we have the election. And then we have, where's my producer? We have this.
Leftists are dangerously insane. Courtesy of BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show and the SHR Media Network.
Now, this Sadly, this might get a little tedious, but I don't think it will. And anytime, anywhere along the way, if any of you guys, you are strangely silent tonight. All of you are strangely silent. And I'm looking at you, Jeremy, and I'm looking at you, Alan, and I'm looking at you, Jack. I'm kind of expecting you guys to weigh in. So if you won't, then I'm going to go straight.
You jumped on my line about Jill Biden being an elder abuser. So
I'm still celebrating BZ. Like here's the thing. We are rolling in to the golden age of America. We're going to have the House. We're going to have the Senate. Go ahead and take us to court. Let's take it to SCOTUS. Let's go there for the first 2 years. And then what you're going to watch the Republican Party start reining in Donald Trump after 2 years. So it's going to be a lot more nicer things. But for the first 2 years, man, we are blazing trails, knocking down doors, kicking people back where they're supposed to be, getting people on their feet, thriving small businesses, thriving big businesses, bringing new businesses back into the U.S. There is nothing that couldn't have happened better other than maybe Jack being able to come to America. Other than that, there's nothing that could have been better for us. Yesterday was a day that I'll remember forever. I decided at midnight, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to bed. I know he's got it in the bag. And then I'm sitting there on my phone, laying sideways on my bed. It wasn't until 4 o'clock in the morning that I got to sleep. And when I woke up in the morning, I was still as giddy as I was when I went to bed. And I still feel it now.
And a lot of the media don't want to cover just how historic this Trump victory is. Only one other president in American history, I think it was Coolidge?
Grover Cleveland.
Has had non-consecutive terms. So in the 248, 250 year history of the United States, this is only the second time in history it's happened. And when Trump was defeated last time, I had everyone, when Trump's election was stolen.
Thank you.
I had a lot of people say, look, will he go back and do it again? And I said, look, statistically, it is almost impossible for someone who has had one term and then to have non-consecutive terms. And at that stage, I didn't realize it was as few as that. I think at that time I said only 4 or 5 in all of America's history, but it turned out it's only happened once before. So this is the historical nature of this really does show what a complete screw up Bidenomics has been. I mean, here in Australia, A&W rupee, $4 a can. I am hoping that when the US, and this is actually made in the US, it's not the one made by Coca-Cola in Malaysia.
That one took a long damn trip.
Yeah. I'm looking. What people don't realize is that Bidenomics didn't stop 12 nautical miles off the coast of the United States or at the Canadian-Mexican borders. It has been devastating to the Australian economy. Housing here is complete. None of my kids, unless we win the Powerball, none of my kids will ever own a house. The only time I've ever been able to own a house is in the United States when I was living there. And sadly, because of the whole COVID thing, I don't have that anymore. This is all gas here. I'm driving Uber at the moment to pay the bills. What I pay for a litre of diesel, I can get almost an entire gallon in Texas. Excuse me, in Texas, where I used to live. That's how different it is. And I know BZ likes to post a picture of what gas used to be even in California before and after the first Trump administration. I am looking forward to seeing gas prices plummet because the world's economy is going to once again prosper like it did during the first Trump administration. And I wish more people could see that.
I think they do.
Sorry?
I think that they do see it. We got a problem over here with these social justice warriors. These, would you rather have more money or would you rather these people be socially accepted? To be honest, I don't give two shits about LGBTQ stuff. You go do what you want. This is America. Go be happy. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to do me. You go do you. But this has taken over the Democrat Party. These special people, these separated, segregated people that they like to build power off of, and they like to start these social like whirlwinds with everybody. That's what they do. And I watch people on TikTok, especially. They're like, all these people, these Trumpers, they only care about their pocketbook. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what?
What else is there at this point?
But there's some truth to that, because I've got kids and I've got dreams and I've got their futures and they've got dreams, so F off. I'm trying to watch my mouth, being that there's the KLRN, excuse me.
And the silly thing is, legally, now it's against the law for me to mispronoun someone. So if somebody gets into my Uber, and I was relating to this off air, I just say, "How we doing, folks?" which is gender neutral, and they still get upset.
What if it's a furry?
Folks, I haven't had a furry in the car yet. Although I do know there is a furry conference coming to town.
But if you do, will you allow them to bring their cat box? And where does it go? In the back seat or the far back?
Yeah, well, that's just it. I'm not signed up for Uber Pets, so I'm only legally required to take service animals. Mind you, that being said, have you seen the YouTube video that's floating around of a guy getting pulled up, and he tries to identify himself to the state trooper as a cat, hands his cat collar over?
Yes. If I knew you were going to say that, I would have brought it here today. Yes, I have. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean that's a right. I remember posing that question before my channel got deleted. We find one of these people out in the street, and they're not appropriately registered with the county or the city. Should they be taken to the pound, and should they be spayed and neutered before released back to their owners?
Which only makes good sense. It makes great sense.
Beezy, this is how important this was yesterday. So Donald Trump, he makes these calls last night, right? And right away this morning, what happens? The Dow, 1,600 points. All these, other money systems, bang, they go flying up. John Deere announces some more building, and keep in mind, they were just going to move their plant to Mexico. Now they're staying in Iowa. They're going to reopen some stuff. Then you turn on the news at 8 o'clock this morning. The Houthis have decided to sit down and stop the war in Yemen. And why did they say? Well, because there is going to be somebody that's leading from a position of power in the United States. And they're like, well, you better knock that off. Trump didn't even have to call him. Then he calls Netanyahu and he says, you know what? I want this stuff fixed before I take office. And Netanyahu says, we'll see what we can do, which he has to give like this resistance a little bit because they're in the middle of what they're doing. Iran leaks out that they're going to stop bombing here and stop bombing there. Putin says it's going to be very interesting what Mr. Trump brings to the table with Mr. Zelensky. And then Mr. Zelensky says, well, I'm glad we got a good, strong working relationship with Mr. Trump. And we have a good attitude that he's going to come in here and broker a deal. This is on a world stage. Donald Trump isn't even president yet. He's president-elect for less than 24 hours. He's made people rich. He's came out tonight. I watched this. Folks, if there is anybody that's on Social Security, the leftists were saying, he's taking your Social Security away. He's not taking it away. And as a matter of fact, tonight, he said day one, people on Social Security will no longer have federal taxes taken from their Social Security. Amen. Thank you, Donald Trump.
Exactly. This is proof of what you were just saying. This is from Donald Jr. It took about 12 hours after my dad's election for Hamas to call for peace. Trump isn't even president yet. He's 2 months away, literally, and he's already getting this stuff done. This is from Newsweek. Hamas calls for immediate end to war after Trump election win. That tells you essentially all you need to know about Trump coming back and Trump returning.
This is all deja vu for me, because he did exactly the same thing with a lot of manufacturing companies the first time around. I think Ford was going to take a plant to Mexico.
Yep.
He got on the phone and said, "You do this, I'm going to tax the crap out of it. I'll put tariffs on all of that stuff." What happened? That plant didn't go to Mexico until Biden was in office. And now there was talking about lowering 1% on the corporate tax rate and down to 15% if companies start making their products in the United States. You know,
It's a
he's
wonderful
removing
thing.
the tax burden so that we can compete with the Chinese in the United States. And, you know, this is what we need to bring everything back. After all, what happens when you take stuff to China to get manufactured? They steal the IP. They make cheap copies, and hence we've got things like AliExpress and Temu selling crappy copies of stuff that's normally of good quality and would normally have been made to a higher quality. You know, that's why we need to bring this all back. And as Trump showed during the last time with the tariffs, especially with the United States and electronics, the tariffs worked really well because the Chinese manufacturers were cutting costs with the power supplies to a lot of American appliances, so they only worked on 110 volts and 60 cycles. Everything, all the electronics in Australia has international power supplies in it. I can take almost anything that's here overseas and just get an adapter plug to plug in, but voltage-wise, I'm not going to blow it up. You can't do that with any electronics bought in America. You know, if I was to bring a Roku TV back, you know, it's 110. It's not going to work on the 240 volts here. And that, I mean, where could they? The only two places they could dump it was Canada and Mexico. And they don't, and they certainly didn't have the markets to swallow up that. And I can see those tariffs going straight back into place. And once again, the Chinese electronics manufacturers are going to start giving birth to cinder blocks.
We're going to have to take a break with that. I'm BZ. That was Jack Alexander. We're also here with Jeremy Hanson and with Alan Thomas and yourself. Thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for everyone being in chat. And we'll be right back after this. When I return, I think Conan the Barbarian will tell us about the lamentations of your women. I want to hear the lamentations of your women.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, it's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Join me right here on the SHR Media Network every Monday and Friday, 12 on the Pacific, 3 on the East Coast. On this show, we'll discuss news, politics, the government, how cranky we are about the government, and more. If you want to hear hard talk, good interviews, sarcasm, bad jokes, and, oh, God, that really is me in a nutshell. Either way, check me out right here on the Edge of Liberty every Monday and Friday, 12 Pacific, 3 on the East, on the SHR Media Network.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? Then check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com. 7armors.com. Faithful, vigilant, steadfast, fashion.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
And I'm back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for being here tonight in the Saloon. Thanks to everyone in chat. Thanks to my guests tonight, Alan Thomas, Jeremy Hanson, Jack Alexander, all one each, not doubles. There are no clones allowed in this show. I am live and I am direct and I am bulbous and I am BZ. Remember always that with great beard comes great responsibility. And thanks to all of our cool secret agents at KLRN Radio who happen to be streaming right now with us, adding to the stage Jack Alexander, adding to the stage, look, it happens to be Alan Thomas. Unleashed Jeremy Hanson will be right back. But I told everybody that I'm going to hear about let me see if I can pull this off without a producer. Hear about the lamentations of your women. First, I have to put it on screen. Let's see.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
Hear, hear. That's the best right there. Conan said it
The
the best.
lamentations of the women?
The lamentations. I want to hear the lamentations of your women. Did you not see Conan the Barbarian? You have a man card. I know it's in your back pocket. Pull it out on the break. I want to see it. So thanks for being here tonight. Everyone. And by the way, to everyone. Now, I played it once. I'm going to have to play it again because now we're going to double down.
Leftists are dangerously insane. Courtesy of BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show.
And here's an important
and the
article.
SHR Media Network.
Very important article. You know, following the election, there's going to be a lot of stress, and it's on everyone. And so, have you noticed, everyone, all of the articles that have emerged from the American media magazines about namaste, little one, seek your center, toss the pebble. My hand is open. If you can snatch the pebble out of my hand. Okay, that dates me. David Carradine, Kung Fu. Nobody saw it. I'm talking to a different audience. Okay, I get it. Anyway.
Actually, I was watching an episode earlier today.
Excellent for you. Wait a minute. Thank you. How did David Carradine die? BZ, because you're in homicide. I know. Autoerotic asphyxiation. Okay, let's move on. All the articles in here that have come up from all of the American media maggots, they're just like this one. How to cope. How to stem the tears. Folks, maybe you can weigh in because here's what I did when Biden won and when Obama won the first time and when Obama won the second time. Here's what I had to do. I had to wake up 8 hours later and go to fucking work so that I can support all the free cheese eating maggots and parasites throughout the rest of my state and throughout the nation as well. Did I have time to... says I feel so bad. No, I didn't have any time to do that because I actually pay taxes. I paid them then and I paid them now. And I don't have the ability to sit back in serious reflection. And no, what I'm going to show you for it, and again, all of you guys, I want you to comment and weigh in, and we're going to laugh at leftists. But here's the thing that I want to point out from the very beginning, and that's maybe I can start right now. Here we go. This is where we're going to start. I'm going to throw it on the screen. Now, because I don't have the ability, because of this monitor, to make things completely wide under some circumstances, just know that what you're watching and listening to, because I'm going to go just up the feed. I don't have enough RAM to put probably another 40 tabs up here of the lamentations of the women, because that's what you're going to hear. Leftist white chicks are nuts. Now, there are some other women, a couple of men with different paint jobs that are in here, but it's the lamentations of the women that I like to hear. That's what we're going to be hearing. Now, if any of you guys would like to weigh in during this, at any point, just start chatting and I'll stop it and we'll have whatever discussion you wish. The first thing I want to point out is this didn't happen by chance. All of these people that I'm going to show you on video intentionally immured it so that you can see it and I can sup it all up in my tear cup and show it to you tonight. Nothing that's in here was unintentional. They want you to know that they're suffering, and the suffering is real. So at 10 minutes after the hour, by the way, it's 9:10 on the left coast. In Central Time, it's 11:10, and it's past midnight, 12:10 on the East Coast, and in Bolivia at 1749.725, drawer 3, paragraph 60, page 60, if I'm not mistaken, but I could never understand Bolivian time. Let's listen.
Yo, I'm scared to go to sleep. I might wake up a motherfucking slave.
Okay, by the way, stop just for a second. I know it's a late night show, and I've tried to be better. I've tried to minimize my M and F and S words. Put the little children to bed right now, or clap something over your shell-like ears and your ossicles so they're not abused, because from now on to the rest of the show, I'm just going to let leftists speak for themselves. Take it away.
Y'all, like, why are y'all Trump supporters? Like, why?
Why are
you? Why are y'all Trump supporters? Like, why is this a thing right now?
Okay, I think I've heard enough of you.
Just quick fact for you. 24% of young black men voted for Donald Trump this last election.
Yeah, absolutely. That deserves this is going to be a bell-ridden show tonight. Just thought I'd tell you. Just because of its very nature. And I'm so
it was
damn
a similar
happy.
number of black women as well. It was a similar percentage of black women.
Correct. And 45% of Hispanics voted for Trump.
Oh, okay. All right. Since you mentioned that, I'm going to go here. Jeremy, do you see what you did? You reminded me that I need to do this. Okay. This is an individual who is taking her hand and going upside the head of Latino voters in this country. Now, I'm starting with this because following, you'll see just, hey, who's the party of racists around here? There's that to begin. Then these are in response. Expecting Latino people to be smart was the first mistake. And then there's this from ex-wifey material. What do you expect from a community who uses the N-word more than actual niggas do? Racist much? No, of course not. Uneducated and ignorant. This is just off of a response that I found on social media. And I'm going to do maybe a couple more, and then that'll be the end of it, because I'm hammering the point home, but only to a certain degree. Choosing to not educate themselves, and they think that La Economia is going to save them when they're going to be fucked. No problem. Oh, this is great. I inserted this in just for comedic effort. Kamala lost so bad, FEMA just sent her a check from $750. That was from John Rich. Nicely played, John Rich. This is perfectly in keeping with the show tonight, whoever Bob is. And he's replying to Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh had stuck a challenge out there and said, send me all the cool stuff of people and the lamentations of your women. And everybody did. It was great. Where do you think I get more sources for this stuff? Watching all the insane crying on TikTok videos make me realize we need to bring back mental institutions. No, not just colleges. Real mental institutions with Nerds Ratchet and no sharp objects. Also, the Democrat propaganda media did this. That's absolutely 100% correct. The Nazi screaming media did this. They created a mental health crisis like nothing, like COVID. They sent weak minds down a spiral of mental health crisis to what? Win an election? That's exactly what they did. And when he says, that's sick, well, guess what? That is in fact sick. Let's go back. I'm just going to go back up my feed. What did we have? We had a freedom huddle. And also, I love this meme. So I made a meme out of the first meme for a second meme so that I could put that meme up on my feed. Some memes are every bit as good and satisfactory and satisfying the second time around. Let's go up here. I did that. Oh, here we go. This is, like I said, put it at the top. This is the first of many to come.
All right, guys, it's time to go to bed. None of us are stressed about the election, right?
No.
We all are gonna just go have the best night's sleep of our lives, aren't we?
Okay, I think you got that. Let's move on. Hey, thank God for dogs, right? Because dogs love everybody. This is I had to play this. I heard this on, I think, Newsmax. So I figured out, okay, I got to go find this, snag it for the show tonight.
Because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite who are hurting tonight. There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed.
Oh, like Barack Hussein Obama talked down to black men. But that doesn't count, okay? Right? Move on.
Who tried to dream a big dream over the past couple of months. And tonight they're trading in a lot of hope for a lot of hurt. And they were hoping that maybe this time, one of their own could be seen as worthy. And once again, they're facing rejection. And that hurts. They thought tomorrow morning they're going to walk out with their shoulders back a little bit, maybe able to breathe for the first time and feel like they belong someplace. They did everything that they knew how to do. And it's going to be harder than it should be tomorrow for them to hold their heads up. And they're not the only people who are hurting tonight. If you're a parent of a trans kid,
stop right there. Just stop right there. I'm going to take this off the screen. If you're a parent of a trans kid, how many people have seen video after video, mostly pushed by insane leftist white chicks who insist that their little boy become a little girl or a little girl become a little boy? That's much fewer. Now, if insane leftist white chicks, invariably the dealio is they want a daughter, they didn't get one, they got a son, and their job now is to make sure that their son becomes a daughter. And they screw with the heads of their kids. The point of all of this is you can call yourself a tree or a 1959 Nash Metropolitan. I don't give a shit. But you can do it after the age of 18. You can do it after the age of 21. In the meantime, keep your damn hands off your kids and let kids have an actual childhood. I call this the mental, chemical, and surgical butchery of children by people who are making bank off of this, and that's the American Psychological Association, that's hospitals, that's doctors, that's the AMA, and all the other people that make the drugs for pubic blockers. I was a pubic blocker at one time. I mean, puberty blockers. Jeremy Hanson, would you stop laughing? That wasn't funny at all. Okay. Jeez, oh, pizza. So let kids be kids. Now, if Van Jones wants to talk about trans units that are 18 or preferably 21 and above, you can call yourself a 1963 Chevy hubcap for all I care. You can be a furry. That's embarrassing. You're a head case. You need to seek therapy and professional help, because otherwise you're not going to change. Studies have come out indicating that a massive percentile, especially in children who undergo any of this stuff, especially surgery, regret it. And then you're taking kids, specifically kids, who are fragile enough anyway to, after having this pounded into their heads, decided, I want to be a pirate, pull out my eye, I want a bird on my shoulder and a peg leg. And then years later, they recommend, oh, wait, it was my parent that forced this crap down me. It was my doctor that forced this crap down me.
And not only that, the suicide rate amongst people who have transitioned is almost double that of veterans.
Man, I have 26 grandkids, 2 great grandkids, maybe a couple of more grandkids. And I sit and talk with them all the time. And, they're like in grade school, and they're telling, like, I'll say something like about gay or, something like that, isn't good to say in public. And then they start telling me how their teacher is teaching them that really they're not a girl, right? You're not a girl and you're not a boy, but they don't have to tell us, right? They don't have to tell their parents. These people have been attacking our kids at the school district level, and they don't have to say anything and they don't have to report it. And these kids, like, they're easily impressed on in their brain, right? They're easily talked into.
There's a word for this. It's called grooming.
Yes.
Man, and you know what? It ticks me off really hardcore. And you know what? You could turn my mic down again because I want to laugh really loud at all this stuff you guys are doing, and I'm having a hard time holding it back.
Oh, well, I tell you, don't.
I would like to say
there's more
to Van Jones. Van Jones can kiss my ass about people feeling bad sitting there at night, these black women. How about all the black women that have started businesses that are making it that the Democrats won't even talk about because it doesn't fit their narrative? Right. And if you want to take to the other side of the scale, how about in North Carolina right now? We have families with kids living in tents right now. FEMA pulls out, American Red Cross pulls out, all these people pull out, and then they send in these people from CPS, and they're taking these kids away from these parents in North Carolina because they have no place to go. They got a $750 check. It really pisses me off that Van Jones would say that, talking about all the hurting people because Donald Trump won. Have you heard any of those talking head, racist, infuriated pricks say anything about the people in America that work every day and they can't make their electric bill and they can't afford groceries at the grocery store? They can't fix their damn car when they're going to work, and they're working full time. They're working their ass off. They don't feel bad for those people because they're not their color, and it doesn't fit their narrative to use them as pawns to climb the ladder politically. And anyways, kiss my ass, Van Jones.
Well, exactly. The other thing is, I was not aware of that for maybe now. Alan Thomas has been here for a week. He's going to be here for another week after this Sunday, and I appreciate him being here. We got him a week extended, which means I'm going to be doing more shows, not just on my Tuesday and Thursday nights. Now, I'm going to look into that. Trust me when I say that. I was not aware, Jeremy Hanson, that CPS was going into disaster areas and yanking children from families. That isn't just bad. That isn't just obscene. That's disgusting that you're going to break up families following a disaster such as that. Trust me when I tell you, I am most deaf going to start looking into that. Let's continue, Van.
Your child's face was used as a springboard to power for somebody. That doesn't feel good. There are going to be people tomorrow.
Okay, stop. Enough of that. The children's face being used as a springboard for political purposes are all the parents that are agendized for LGBTQXYZ and are using their kids as test beds for chemicals, for psychiatric consultations, and for butchery. You could call it surgery, but I call it butchery. So don't lay that crap on me, Van Jones.
How do you change the population's thinking? You start with the children. I mean, if you can change all the children's mind in a few years, so be it. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be that way. We have to train them from home. We have to teach them the right way and not let the agenda be in their brain, because if we just look the other way or we let this go, America will change and it won't be good.
Alan,
that's why the school boards were having parents listed as potential terrorists, because the parents were coming to the school board meetings and trying to get some level of accountability, and they're getting thrown out, they're getting arrested, and then we saw that the FBI was maintaining a major list of parents who just complained at school board meetings and had them as a higher risk of potential terrorism threats than that of actual terrorists. That's
a fact, 100% fact.
Yeah, I mean, some of this stuff has got to be changed. The Patriot Act needs to be repealed.
Oh my
because
God!
it is just too easily abused. I mean, I know how simple the anti-terrorism statutes in Australia were used during COVID to shut people down, including myself. 2.5 years hiding from law enforcement for daring to expose the police violence.
Are they arresting you guys for Facebook posts yet, like they are in England?
They did during COVID. I mean, they sent 12 armed people to arrest a 7-month-old pregnant woman for posting on Facebook. There was another guy who was retired Australian Army. They sent a SWAT team to bring him in. Now, we don't have guns in general population in here, but they sent a 14 or 16-man SWAT team and broke in his door because he had training. And that's one of the reasons why when my podcast was deleted, my wife came to me, and look, in 28 years, I can count the number of times my wife has made earnest requests on one hand and still have fingers left over. And she said, look, honey, you have got to step away from this. Every time a police car drives down our street or their helicopter flies over, everyone's ducking under the covers. You need to walk away from this for a while. And that's what I've had to do. But I mean, they're still running cases of in the magistrates court in Melbourne of the thousands of people that were arrested under these incitement laws during COVID.
See, and that's another reason why it's important to have yourself on and other voices besides me, so that people understand this. The cowardly Australian government, you guys should be so proud for having done that. Cowed citizens that are essentially unarmed, and training and knowledge now equates to a terrorist. AYFKM. Are you fucking kidding me? What happens? Let Australia be the clarion call for what happened there and ensure it doesn't happen here, that there is still some kind of bastion of freedom left.
I wanted to say something to Alan because he was brought up a good point. If we don't have the kids and we're not teaching them right, we won't even notice it and they'll be gone. But here's the thing. Gen Z was the second highest percentage demographic that voted for Trump behind Gen X. Gen Z, the young one, because the young men of this country are waking up because of people like Andrew Tate. Love him or hate him, the guy came out and said, listen, there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is only over-feminized men and men act like these girls and they're over-emotional. Thank you. It is that type of thing that we need to be watching for. The last 4 years hasn't been all that bad. I belong to a group that started a couple years ago called FARM. And FARM stands for Fathers Against Raising Morons. Okay.
I like that.
It's awesome. And these guys are like, you got to get out there, teach your kid how to change the oil. You got to get out there, teach your kid how to garden. You need to take your kids, get them off the electronics, take them out to the beach, take them fishing. It is stuff like that, grassroots level, things like the Boy Scouts when only boys used to be able to go and the Girl Scouts when only girls used to be able to go. It is things like that that brought America together because it created strong family bonds. And it is coming back. And I think in the next 4 years, we are going to see an explosive growth in family-oriented things. I see young men walking away from social media, like cutting down their time right now because they've got better things to do. I've watched young men around me, many of them, say, you know what? We don't want to date these girls that have been around everywhere. We don't want that anymore. We actually want girls that are going to help us build a life. And to me, that's getting back to basic Americana, if you know what I'm saying.
You know, the girls are starting to want real guys, right?
Yes.
You know, they don't want the little pussyfied guy. They want the
metro
real
segment.
man, right?
Exactly. Hey, that's what we're supposed to be. There are some men that are a little feminized. I can't remember that guy that used to be on TV that did the home and garden, and he'd come out and he'd be like this, and you swore to God he was gay. And then he brought his wife out and he had like 5 kids. And I was okay, there's masculine men that have a feminine side. I can understand that. But we have distinctive, definitive roles that we play in our government, that we play in our communities, that we play at home, and especially with our children. The mother has a role, the father has a role. And I can't do her role and she can't do my role. And the Democrat Party and the insane, I wish I had BZ's vocabulary when it came to talking about them. But
Insane clown posse.
There you go. That works. It's those people that have been pushing this insanity. And literally look at the amount of suicides in the United States over the last 4 years. I think over the last 8 years. And it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And some people are just too weak to wrap their mind around and be self-confident enough to say, this is insane. I don't need to listen to this. I'm going to do my thing. Some people follow that and they can't take it anymore. And I put that on them. That is on them.
Yeah, absolutely it is. The other thing that I'd like to point out is that as well, you're dealing, when we're talking about trans units, et cetera, children, you're dealing with a class of individuals that are mentally clouded, that are being blown up with the wrong information. And because of that, their mental situation is such that it's precarious anyway. In the first place, they're on the edge. And then you're going to do something to them where they're already damaged and dented. And you're going to literally force something onto them societally and within whatever family structure exists that's left. Generally, leftist white chick pushed, guaranteed. Men are not going to push that kind of crap. Actual men are not going to push that kind of crap. They're damaged units. And then you're going to do that to them. And you're going to take someone who perhaps already has suicidal tendencies and pretty much put them in the column where those suicidal tendencies may in fact emerge. It's nuts. It's nuts city. The other thing that I've noticed in the past year, maybe year and a half, and I'd like you guys to weigh in on this. You cannot go to any TV show now where probably a good third, at least a third of the ads on the American Media Maggot video sector consist of nothing but drug ads after drug ad after drug ad. And that is emphasizing and buttressing.
And they're mostly psychiatric drugs.
They are mostly psychiatric drugs, although the other ones are, that's a story for another day.
Well, the TV shows are all lined up to the girly guy also. Like when you're watching it, the comedic factor guy is, hey guys, like on almost all of them, or they're single parent family. I mean, from every angle, they're destroying the family unit.
Well, the other thing I want to put in here that I find very interesting, and I would like some of you guys to weigh, or all of you to weigh in on this. This was directly after the election, November 6th, yesterday. Sources are telling me the top 5 CEOs of pharmaceutical companies are holding, or at this point have already held, an emergency teleconference call at 1 p.m. A lawyer has confirmed everybody in the pharmaceutical companies are in a state of panic. Now, folks, everybody here, why would that be? Any thoughts about that?
I can tell you for sure one thing, RFK Jr., and it's so funny you bring up the TV ads, because RFK Jr. had a meeting with Donald Trump where he advised him, please do not allow, just like cigarette companies, we need to take the pharmaceutical company ads off TV, and they're freaking out. Because if you can't normalize it, like 40% of children today, 40% of kids under 18 are on some sort of psychotropic drug right now. If you can't allow that to continue, how are they going to make their money?
Well, if you don't have a government that forces that thing on everybody, people are saying, well, Trump forced shots and he was the vaccine dude and he got everything 15 days to quell the crap and it was him that put it all out. Here's what Donald John Trump didn't say. He didn't say to anybody else, you better take the vax like the corporations and the businesses and the military, or you're out. You're done. He did not suggest or force any kind of a mandate in that whatsoever. So,
well, he did suggest ivermectin
He
and something
did.
else, and all of a sudden that became
azithromycin.
deadly. It was deadly, I tell you.
Oh, hydroxychloroquine, etc. Ivermectin. Oh, you guys eat horse paste. You probably eat horse crap too. It went on and on and on.
So at least that's one thing about the advertising standards in Australia. Prescription-based medications can't be advertised here. Even for things like erectile dysfunction or PM or whatever that you'd give Viagra for. All they can do is cite the company that manufactured it. They can't mention the drug name, and it always tells you to go and talk to your doctor. The only drugs that are openly advertised under Australian media laws is the over-the-counter stuff. So your acetaminophen, your Tylenol, and what have you. And as someone who's worked in the media outside of the US, the first time I saw the drug ads in the US, and I'm thinking, hang on a second, more of this ad is the caveat than it is about the actual drug itself. Listing the ads in the US have to list side effects and everything else.
It's like,
Well, I mean, as someone who's written and run ad campaigns for radio stations and so on, I'm thinking, what a waste of money! You're paying for all of this time, and you're not actually getting to the message. And hopefully that there'll be some sort of change come in with that, because
a lot of it is subliminal. A lot of people don't know that. like even in the YouTube ads. I have a friend in YouTube. He's been helping me. We started off in live stream before YouTube, and he really got into it, and he works for Google, and he quit here like 3 months ago because of the subliminal ads. He told me, he said, click off of them. Do not let it play. Like, even if you walk away from it, turn the sound down. Don't look at it. There's things in there that are harmful. It's on TV. It's everywhere. It's probably even more invasive than we even know, this subliminal stuff. And he totally quit because it's that bad.
Well, say what you will about RFK. RFK, he has a time and a place. RFK can kind of be a one-trick pony. I get it. And RFK is no fan of the Second Amendment and a number of other things. So if Donald John Trump, OMB, Orange Man Bad, the guy with a dead orange cat on his head, decides that he's going to utilize RFK in a limited position like that, and if you can take him like a loaded bomb and aim him down the hallway, so to speak, and then tell him, go right at the door that's green, open it up, and you're going to be in charge of all this COVID crap and any H1N1, H2N15 junk that happens in the future. I task you with getting all the correct information on that from as many sources as you can, and not let science, science exists for one reason, the scientific method. Let's have a thought, let's make tests, and find out if we can prove anything through the scientific method. One thing we know, science always changes. Science is not immured. Climate always changes. Climate is not immured. Lawyers practice, doctors practice. Nothing is etched in stone. And all these leftist assholes attempted to lock everyone down under things that they declared were etched in stone. And we discovered, no, they were not.
Yeah, the cries were always, you've got to believe in the science. Well, I'm sorry, the science of biology has been around for a couple of millennia, and most biology people who study biology at least know how to tell the difference between a man and a woman, male or female, no matter what the species.
Well, let's get on with Van Jones. I'm sorry, did you have something that you wanted to add?
I did. You and Alan both said things about the family and what we're watching and things. And I find it funny because, politicians, they really don't care about people. They don't care about anything. But besides racial factors, when you look at the Democrats, what is the highest voting demographic percentage-wise that is not racial based?
What would you say?
It's single mothers. Single mothers single-handedly vote Democrat at the biggest percentage there is of any voting demographic for politics.
And why do you think that is? I have an idea. What do you think?
Well, I was kind of interested to know what you guys thought, because I don't want to come off sounding like I'm misogynistic.
Well, weren't we told, for example, and welcome to all the other people in chant. In chant, by the way, I just created a new network, the 24/7 Tibetan bell ringing channel. I'll be starting tomorrow sometime. Or the Tibetan throat humming channel. Or the parakeet training channel. I'm not sure which one I'm going to start, but I'm starting it tomorrow. Thanks to Dayanara also, who is in chat. In any event, I will be so bold as to suggest or wager this, Jeremy Hanson. Single mothers are dependent on government because they don't have anyone else in the household to help them out. And it became a trend, it became a thing. You can thank Lyndon Baines Johnson, starting about 1964, who did his level best to make sure that the government took all the men out of the once nuclear black family, and then it bled over into every other family unit in the United States of America as well. Thanks, LBJ. And he did it for political purposes, for power and control and money.
Yes, that's 100% accurate. And what demographic is the most easily controlled? It's them. Hey, you know, you can destroy
I'm
families.
showing you. I'm going to show you. But wait, PZ, did you say there's more? Oddly enough, there is more. Let's finish with Van Jones because somehow, oddly enough, Van Jones has managed to light each and every one of us up.
We're going to be handing clothes at the dry cleaners to people who don't have papers. There are going to be people who are going to be cleaning your teeth tomorrow who don't have papers. And they're terrified tonight. And so it's easy to blow this off.
Right, because all the illegal invaders are aspiring dentists, right?
Oh, look at the elites. They're going to get their comeuppance. It's not the elite that's going to pay the price. It's people who woke up this morning with a dream.
No, it's going to be the people whom the illegal invaders kick out of their jobs because Republicans who like cheap labor can get those people employed, bring folks in on cheap visas, pay them less than everyone else, and that's how the replacement theory is enabled. Replacement theory, by the way, folks, is not applicable to just white people. Tucker Carlson, for example, was accused of pushing replacement theory. And at no point did Tucker Carlson ever say anything similar to, oh, I'm saying that's pointed directly at white people. No, the Caucasoid's not in the group. What he said was replacement theory for every actual American. And you can see it in Chicago, and you can see it in New York, and you can see it all across the United States. The replacement theory isn't just for, pale little old fat fucks like me. It's for everyone. It's for everyone of every stripe and every paint job. That's what it's for.
They're trying to change America. Like we used to be able to have the American dream. They're changing it to we don't get the dream anymore, but let's bring in a whole bunch of people and change everything.
And they've made it impossible for those people who want to chase the American dream legally, such as myself. Everyone just keeps saying, "Go, Jack, grab your family, go to Tijuana, put on a sombrero and a hijab, and rock up at the San Ysidro crossing point and say, hey, I'm Juan Mustafa Mohammed Alejandro, and I'm a Mexican Muslim trans, and I'll be living in Beverly Hills at the end of the week."
You're a threefer. They'd snap you up in a hot flash.
But every time they talk about making changes to immigration law, it's all about pardoning criminals for their actions rather than changing the immigration law to make it more appealing and easier for people to do it legally. This is the one thing that has bamboozled me for more than 20 years and cost more than $500,000.
Jack,
trying to immigrate legally.
You are not in accordance with Gaia's great plan, but actually, essentially, neither is Van Jones.
Going to bed with a nightmare. And those people didn't deserve to be respected and held and talked to. Those are the people who are going to pay the price for whatever Donald Trump decides to do.
Yeah, but Van, how do we know?
Okay, stop. I've had enough of Van Jones. Let's move on. Oh,
I can't stand that bad.
Yeah, I know. I just had to play him. I kind of thought he'd light us up, but he lit us up. Let's move on, shall we?
I've been enjoying my Facebook like crazy, man. The people are whining and crying, and everybody else is having a good time and not really rubbing their nose in it like how I want to. Right. But I've kind of been a little bit. I can't help it.
I'm kind of doing that tonight because I'm going to get it out of my system. I'm going to let us watch. I'm going to let us kind of decompress because we've all been compressed. And as she cries, let me regale you with a statement. Let me stop this for a second. Dearest, you can stop. I'm going to take this out. And I'm going to say in soft tones and words and letters that everyone here in my best NPR FM voice. Is she still crying? Okay, good. I was in the Air Force. I wasn't in the Air Force, but I was an Air Force brat. I was a military brat. And my dad, who was a full bird colonel, flew in World War II, etc. We got on-base housing at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Everybody around us was a general. They were 2-story, 4,000-foot, beautiful homes with a basement at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. And I always wondered, how did a colonel get a on-base housing when every other individual in on-base housing surrounding us was a general. And then we had generals over for dinner. And I will never remember, I can't think of this guy's name, but the point that he gave is, I distinctly remember him saying, Dad asked him, well, you know, blah, 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 and this happened. God, at the end of the day, don't you give headaches? And he replied, I don't get headaches. I give headaches. And that's the point. I'm here to make sure right now, today, to expunge it, get it out of my system. I'm here to give headaches to leftists right now. Here, let's continue.
She's still crying about
I know.
it.
Yeah. Okay. She's not very entertaining. Let's move on. Here's another individual. Let me put this up to the top. Gee, what was my comment? Where's my tear cup? Amazing. Soft music. Hi, Soft Music 101, your soft music station for the rest of the night. My heart breaks for all the women in America, for all the women's is here. Let's see if I got this one.
If you sat there and you voted for Trump, a felon, over Kamala because she was a woman, you're disgusting. You're disgusting. If you sat there.
Okay, let's have another one.
But I don't know what you expected us to do.
By the way, if you noticed at the top, I said, hey, the hardware in your face, that's called a clue.
I hate you, you fucking orange pumpkin. You're just constantly one of the most important people in my life right now. Donald Trump, I hate you. You will never be president again.
You will never be president again because you've been termed out after the second term. That's great. This was a slap in the face to the American media maggots. I'm shocked it was on CNN. And I think, what's his name? I can't think of that dude's name. And it really doesn't matter because he's absolutely immaterial, as is CNN. A bit of reality was injected up this guy's gonads here.
So you asked, are there any places that the vice president is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020? So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming in 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go. So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Literally not one county?
So you asked, are there any places that the vice president is over?
So his response, he shows this blackboard of the United States, and there's any places where Cami Cackler is overperforming? And the answer is no. Let's have more.
Easy thing to me is that if this guy does end up winning again, all of the people who voted for him will be like happy and they'll just be celebrating.
Thank you.
And everyone else, everyone who feels threatened by him is
that's the point of the
scared.
show.
Like we're scared for our lives. We're scared for our friends. Like you have pro-life women dying because their doctors are scared to
document one pro-life woman dying.
0.
Yeah. Move on.
treat
I'm
them
sorry.
because
He's
of
sorry.
the repercussions of his last presidency.
Because he was such a dictator in the first go around, that means that he's going to be a dick. No, that didn't happen the first go around. Hey, how about a little reality and a little experience? Hey, do I have Jen Psaki here?
I think this is a big, huge part of the story that it's hard to even digest fully at this moment. But you have Elon Musk, who owns Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it these days, X, who is a disinformation propagandist.
Oh, who bought 200 radio stations in contravention of FCC laws? That wouldn't be George Soros, would it?
And now could potentially have a direct line to the Oval Office. I think this is a big...
Oh, by the way, yeah, it does have a direct line to the Oval Office. I don't have... I was going to put Doge in here. I was going to put DOGE. There's a great meme out with Elon Musk, and he's sitting with Doge Dog at a desk, and DOGE is directory of government efficiency, which Elon Musk may, in fact, be in charge of coming. Oh my God, considering or even mulling over the possibility of government, people in government, people overwatching government being run kind of like a business instead of pissing all your hard-earned taxpayer dollars away.
What a
Doge.
concept, right? What a
Doge.
concept.
Doge.
Yeah. I'd love to see what Elon could do. Just imagine.
13 seconds. This is 13 seconds of greatness. Watch. Yeah, baby, let's play it again. It was so good.
Now that's about dead on right there, ain't it? That's about what's happening.
Beautimus. Let's move on. And of course, here we go.
So I'll just shut the fuck up. I'll just shut the fuck up for good now, huh? Yeah, you fucking want that? Yeah? We are fucking over. Stupid fucking.
Okay, and let's move on. I think you got that. Hey, here's a waltz mail.
Well, Donald Trump is now our 47th president of the United States of America. This election was not even close, which I find odd considering Kamala Harris's rallies. However, how can that compete when you have Elon Musk paying $1 million per day?
Or George Soros paying $1 million a day in perpetuity for the past 10 years plus, but you don't care about him. Move on.
To encourage people to vote for Donald Trump. Personally, I'm disgusted by that. I'm disgusted enough to delete my X account. Stop.
Let me help him. I'll show him the way.
I know. It's like, delete the X
I
account.
bet he hasn't.
Hogan! Continue.
Disgusted enough to never order a Tesla as long as I shall live.
Elon Musk is cut to the quick because of that, dude. Absolutely cut to the quick. This is a guy. Let's listen to a guy. This is a guy that says he's a guy, or maybe he isn't a guy, or maybe he is a guy. I forgot to, and I wouldn't check his junk. It's junk. So.
He's up down! He dropped down!
Oh, sad.
Joe Biden, please!
Nice nail paint, dude. Neo, I go send you to Neo. By the way, I remind everyone that these are all intentional. These weird genetic mental mutants, defects and all, decided that they were going to put their propensity for insanity and immure it on TikTok, etc.
It kind of seems like you put a camera in front of them and they go whack-a-doodle.
Oh, that's TikTok for you. Moving right along, this guy on CNN actually allowed a bit of reality to escape for just a moment.
This is a mandate. He's won the national popular vote for the first time for a Republican for the first time since 2004. This is a big deal. This isn't backing into the office. This is a mandate to do what you said you were going to do. Get the economy working again for regular working class Americans, fix immigration, try to get crime under control, try to reduce the chaos in the world. This is a mandate from the American people to do that. I think I'm interpreting the results tonight as the revenge of just the regular old working class American, the anonymous American who has been crushed, insulted, condescended to. They're not garbage. They're not Nazis. They're just regular people who get up and go to work every day and are trying to make a better life for their kids. And they feel like they have been told to just shut up when they have complained about the things that are hurting them in their own lives. I also feel like this election, as we sit here and pour over this tonight, is something of an indictment of the political information complex. I mean, we've been sitting around here for the last couple of weeks, and the story that was portrayed was not true. I mean, we were told Puerto Rico was going to change the election. Liz Cheney, Nikki Haley voters, women lying to their husbands. Before that, it was Tim Walz and the camo hats. Night after night after night, we were told all these things and gimmicks were going to somehow push Harris over the line. And we were just ignoring the fundamentals. Inflation, people feeling like that they were barely able to tread water at best. That was the fundamentals of the election. And so I think that both parties should always look at the results of an election and figure out what went right and what went wrong. But I think for all of us who cover elections and talk about elections and do this on a day-to-day basis, we have to figure out how to understand, talk to, and listen to the half of the country that rose up tonight and said, we've had enough.
Half the country.
And it was half the country. Let me discuss here just for a moment. There were so many issues in what that guy said that it could be an hour show plus just over those potential things. The American media maggots, which is what I lovingly call the media, because they prey off of everyone and they feed on the carrion of death and despair. Those are the individuals. What kind of a future do they have? Do they have a future? And do they possess not just the American media maggots, but do leftists and Democrats and the globalists who ultimately really don't care at all, do they have the wherewithal to do some kind of an election autopsy on this and ask themselves honestly, can they be honest with themselves? I don't think so. They're going to double down on exactly what they've been doing, and they did it in the past, they did it now, and they will be doing it in the future. The American media maggots out of this have essentially ruled themselves immaterial. I may have more influence over what people are saying than anybody else. I can remember on my last show, which was a Sunday night show, I said, I'm going to tell you all about Kamala Harris. And one of the people that was in chat, and by the way, folks in YouTube chat, thanks to everyone for being here tonight. I greatly appreciate it. But I had somebody in the chat room tell me, you're pissing up a rope. You'll have no effect. No one listens to you. You've done this way too late. And by the way, it is yourself at your age on this show that you make no consequence whatsoever. And because I don't have the time to answer in chat and all of that, the first thing I thought was, well, you're here. How did you get here, asshole? Looks like I won. Looks like maybe if I got one or two people to vote for Trump out of that show, bing, I win.
Just remember, I have a friend. Remember I was telling you that used to be in YouTube and quit? He told me that the numbers that we see, especially if you talk Trump positive, you're being seen, but they're not counting it and they're not showing you. They want you to give up. Never give up. Okay. Never give up. Plus, I saw a map just a little bit ago of there's no more blue states. There's not one blue state. There's only blue cities now. I think there was way over 50% of the population that voted for Trump. Like it's going to slap the you know what out of people here coming in the days.
Let me add this to the stage. Jack Alexander, you put this up to potentially be in the stage. And what do you have to say about this?
Well, the guy on the picture is Kevin Rudd, former Prime Minister, current ambassador for Australia to the US. Now, he has gone into major panic mode just 24 hours before the election. He was at some Bible event claiming that Trump was a traitor and a threat. Now, all of a sudden, post-election, his Twitter, X, whatever, has magically, all of the anti-Trump stuff has magically disappeared. And I would imagine that the Albanese government are going to have a few uncomfortable questions with the new administration over the comments that the current Australia ambassador has said. Mind you, what he has said is completely in line with the Australian Labor Party anyway. I mean, that they are socialist to the core. But yeah, I mean, the Trump derangement syndrome isn't just limited to people who don't know whether they're boys or girls, but human or animal. It does also stem out to the world's politicians as well.
Well, I speak leftist, so would it be in keeping with that by saying that Kevin Rudd is an abject, craven coward? Would that be accurate?
Yeah, and he's also in the hip pocket of China too. He actually does speak. He actually does speak fluent Mandarin. Yeah. When Xi Jinping visited Australia when he was Prime Minister, all the conversations were a lot of the conversations were actually held in Mandarin.
Oh,
so
great.
that the local media couldn't follow what was going on. They had to rely on the translations.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect. Let's continue with this. By the way, this is what's happening to the WEF and Klaus Schwab right now. Okay, and I think you get that as well. Here's another. Let's continue.
Knowing that I woke up, bitch, it's not about a fucking book. Fuck that shit right now. Knowing that I went to bed, that fucking man was ahead a little bit, but waking up to this man, literally, you're 4 points of fucking weight. Not only shows me how racist, which, hello, wake up, you black, you're aware of that. It not only shows me how racist this country is, misogynistic, y'all.
Let me stop right there because that's all they have. That's all leftists have.
Yeah.
It's the country of leftist ists and ob. You're going to be into the ist category or you're going to be into the ob category.
Simply this.
This is their argument. This is a great argument. Listen to the argument that leftists have. Their best argument right here. And I should care to point out that's their current argument as well. Here's something that's nice. Let's dance, baby.
Mega.
Young man. I'm back, bitches. Okay, I think you got enough of that as well. And then, hey, here's another song. Let's all sing along, please.
We are the democracy.
Okay,
Well,
I like creative people like that. Let's move
They
on.
did get a good dose of democracy.
Sure they did.
They did. They got exactly, you know that Chinese adage, beware what you wish for? Well, they just got it.
Yeah, certainly.
A really big dose of it, huh? It was good.
By the way, this was voted by Matt Walsh as his favorite.
I'm sorry.
Okay, move on, BZ. Okay. Or this one. Did I vote this?
Barely missed the Trump one.
You see them both light up?
You see them both light up? I sure did. Hey, the Amish came into play this time around, didn't they? Just wait for it. Here we go. Dance, fat guy, dance. Okay, move along, BZ. Move along. Okay, I think I will. Hey, and then there's
Woke up this morning feeling spicy. You guys feel spicy? Because I
Spicy.
do. All right. I don't know how to use this thing. Let's see what happens. Is this cutting off hair? I'm gonna have to cut it shorter.
Yeah.
That's it done, right? I think that this is too. It's getting hair. Let's see here.
Yeah. Leftist white chicks are nuts. Okay, she decides she's going to cut off her hair because because Trump.
Yeah, I gotta cut it. Here we go. Have I given up on America? Yeah. Also given up on coloring this hair because, right?
Good.
Fuck coloring my hair. Fuck having my hair be long and luxurious. Fuck all that shit. Fuck being skinny. Fuck being hot. Fuck being all the things.
Hot. Okay, this is
Got to worry about that.
Yeah. This is a great narrative from Matt Walsh. I preface this with Matt Walsh, for one of the few times in my witness to him, he gets serious here just for a moment. So I wanted to bring the levity down and let's get serious with Matt Walsh.
We've had our fun with these videos. We've sipped from the chalice of leftist suffering. We've satiated our thirst with the sweet nectar of liberal tears. But I do want to get serious for just one moment and offer a word of encouragement to these people.
Okay.
It may seem funny to us, but they are truly worried that Donald Trump will be an evil dictator.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be irresponsible and frankly pretty cruel of me if I didn't take a second to reassure them on that point. So, in all seriousness, all jokes aside, no, Donald Trump is not going to be an evil dictator. He's going to be a good dictator. So don't worry. Yes, Trump is going to be dictator for life. When he dies, his throne will be passed down to Baron Trump, and the Trump dynasty shall reign for 1,000 years. But it's all for your own good. Is Trump going to take away all of your rights? Absolutely not. Not all of them. Yeah. You'll still have the right to agree with Trump and praise him always.
Thank you.
Is Trump going to take away voting rights from women? Again, no. Women will have the right to vote for whoever their husbands tell them to vote for, which will always be Trump. Will Trump intentionally spray more CO2 into the air to cause more global warming, melt the ice caps intentionally, raise global temperatures to tropical levels? Yes, obviously. It's only the coastal states that voted against him in this election, and so now they must be drowned to pay for their sins. The rest of us get to enjoy warm summer weather all year round. So it's basically a win-win. So in that way, all of your fears are valid. And this was all laid out in Project 2025, like you said. It was all there. It's like on page 1. But it won't be as bad as you think. Trust me, in a few months, you won't be complaining anymore. Because you won't be allowed to.
And see, a little injection of reality. Then let's go across the pond to Katie Hopkins, whom I've enjoyed for quite some time. Katie?
Breaking news here in batshit bonkers Britain, where for many of us Trump-supporting, freedom-loving individuals, it's the best day ever. It couldn't be better here in the UK. We have the BBC in absolute ruins. They were unable to announce Trump victory at 7 a.m. and they said Kamala still had a very narrow margin of a route to victory, even though it's obvious she had no route to victory at all. Channel 4's coverage was shite when it started and then completely collapsed, leaving the channel having to pay repeat episode of Friends or something because they had no words to speak about the glorious victory of Trump.
Thanks, Katie. I appreciate that. Oh, one more. Do I have time? Oh, stop for just a second. I'm into overtime. Do you guys mind continuing on overtime?
Yeah.
Is that acceptable with you?
I actually got to get going here. I was just being polite. I just wanted to say one thing, if I may.
Okay, let me pull this out and let me put you right up here. I'm going to put you on Front Street. Go, Jeremy.
Okay. Well, thank you. I remember the day Joe Biggs called me and he said, "Hey, FBI is coming to get me tomorrow at 1. They're not letting me start all this stuff. Can you set up a fund to pay for my attorneys?" And I said, "I'll see what I can do." And, I'm no great.
Can you tell people who he is?
Joe Biggs was a media personality. He was one of the founders of the Proud Boys. He was like government #1 hated guy there was. And he was at January 6th. Now he was led into the Capitol by Capitol Police. Mm-hmm. There's video of the Capitol Police walking in there, guiding him in, and he got 17 years. Okay. He's in, I think it's Tuscaloosa prison in Alabama right now. It was a real quick, him and Enrique Tarrio. They basically threw him in, threw away the key. 17 years he got for that. And there's still other guys that have went into January 6th. For 3 years, they've been sitting in prison. No due process. They can't.
No day in court. Can I stop that just for a second? Folks, this is the United States of America. Do you realize, just as Jeremy Hanson said, that 3 years after the fact, in January 6th, there are still people who were arrested that are sitting in prison and have absolutely zero due process. Many of those were stuck into solitary confinement. Do you also realize that of the people that were arrested in January 6th, 5 of them committed suicide? Now, I'm sure leftists watching right now, because there are literally dozens of them, are going, "Oh, you guys deserve that." Okay, then you deserve the kind of government that you're going to get when you don't espouse and hold rights. I'm sorry, I just had to inject that, Jeremy Hanson. Please continue.
Thank you very much, BZ. I know that there are families, there's mothers, and there's children that have been completely forgotten about. And I'm not saying everything that those guys did was right. I'm not saying that. But what they did was them showing out in their own house. And I think it's despicable because they're literally political prisoners. That's what they are. Nobody got hurt. That, all the leftists, when they said, "Oh, there was policemen that died," that was all lies. Every single bit of it. Not one police officer died that day. The next day, one died from a heart attack from an operation that he had a month before that. So the propaganda that happened then, and the people that are put in prison, I've got to say one thing. Pepe Trump is coming. And to all you children out there, and you mothers out there, and you wives out there that haven't been able to see your husbands, he promises the people that should not be there will get pardoned, and they will be coming home. And amen to that.
Absolutely. If no violence was committed during that, there, I would expect, is a fairly decent chance that their sentences will be commuted. And at one point or another. So, Jeremy Hanson, you got to go. I understand that. If you can wrap up and tell everybody, I think you've done some videos already, and where can people go to see those?
Okay, so I don't know about the videos. I'm going to be talking with BZ I got to find out whether I should go Restream, StreamYard, all that stuff. But you can catch the audio side over at Spreaker, Pandora. I don't know. There's like 15 of them, but I read the comments on Spreaker. YouTube, I'm surprised you're on here, but I might try a page out of your book and actually start putting them on Rumble again, because Rumble, they always let the videos go there. And who knows, now that Trump's in and you've got Elon there, I'm for sure going to be on X, but maybe YouTube again too. I just don't want, I was just right there with Jack. All my YouTube channels got taken. I think all my friends, I think they took all of them. Everybody's YouTube channels.
It's a brand new day. I'll tell you this. When we did the election show, I got more people watching on X than any other platform at the time. So the potential there does exist. Jeremy Hanson, thank you so kindly for being here tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for your participation. Appreciate it. That was Jeremy Hanson. I am BZ.
Have a good one, bro.
That's Alan Thomas and Jack Alexander. I'm going to wrap up, maybe in a little bit. Do you two guys mind continuing for a few more minutes, Alan and Jack?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
All righty. Well, then, in that case, let's go.
Country we can move to escape this incredible madness. I cannot believe this. It's like a fucking nightmare.
I actually slept better that night.
Yeah, me too. How odd is that?
I'm going to tell my son not to have children in this country.
Oh, wait, on that theme. Oh, hold it. Let's continue.
Do you think you should take the signs down? If you feel like you need to go take them down, I'll go out there and help you.
I'm strongly thinking about it.
Okay, well, we can take the signs down. I don't know. I'm just not having a really good feeling about this, you guys. And I just want to know what the backup plan is, because surely Joe Biden, somebody surely thought they should come up with some sort of plan if he did win. So I just want to know what the backup plan is, because you just went a whole year scaring the hell out of me about Project 2025. And now it's about to happen, and you just think we're all just supposed to fucking go to work now?
Here's your backup plan. I'll be blunt. You lose. You're a loser. As Barack Hussein Obama said, elections have consequences. Move on.
Democrat Congresswoman Maxine Waters, a member of the House of Representatives for more than 30 years. Good evening. It is looking like America has gone for Trump. What's gone wrong?
Besides everything.
Well, based on the information that we have now, it certainly does look that way. I don't know if this should be described as something gone wrong. Evidently, the majority are basically whites in this country, willing to accept a dishonorable human being, someone who has been convicted
No, he hasn't.
of 34
Lie.
felonies, someone who has been openly and brazenly racist,
No, he hasn't. Lie.
someone who has, talked about his love for Putin and Kim Jong-un.
Putin outwardly stated that he would be voting for Joe Biden when Biden was running.
And made some statements favorable to Hitler. It doesn't
Well,
matter.
this is all why you don't like him, but why has America voted for him?
Here we go. Here we go.
Racism is the basic point. Now, I know that there will be some support from
Okay. This is how poor these people have. No sense of reality, of perspective, of tradition, of control. None of it. There will be no autopsy of the election, no analysis, no introspection. All they have are ists and obes. You're a racist, or you're a sexist, or you're an misogynist. This aged well. Rob Reiner, Kamala Harris is going to be the 47th president of the United States. And then...
Oh, boy.
Okay, by the way, I just want to let everybody know, because I have inside information to the government. This is the guy. This obviously is a soy boy, but this guy under the Biden regime and certainly under the Harris regime, he was slated to replace General Milley in a few months after Harris. And then,
just as importantly, bringing back impoundment will give us a crucial tool with which to obliterate the deep state, drain the swamp, and starve the warmongers, these people that want wars all over the place, killing. They love killing. And the globalists out of our government. We're going to get the warmongers and the globalists out of our government.
thank you. I appreciate that. That's one of the reasons that I voted for him. I guess I could go on. Maybe I'll end with this because it's been almost 2.5 hours at this point. I would love to go on. Alan and I will go on. But by the way, Tyrus said at least a month ago, on the Gutfeld show, he said, there will be a landslide. It will be for Trump. I'm not making this up. I've said it. You don't believe me? And by the way, Tyrus was absolutely correct. Now here he is, supping at his cup.
Not close. Beer looks good.
Completely correct. I just let you listen to this.
You know what the really fucked up part about this is? It's that my
She's correct.
social media algorithms had me convinced that Kamala was a shoo-in. TikTok, Instagram, pages that I follow on Instagram, like NPR, BBC, like even the comment section was like, we're going to do this. Like, this is amazing. I can't wait to have a first like woman president. Like, this is amazing. And not only did he fucking slaughter her right from the get with the electoral college votes, but he fucking won the popular vote. And it's really been fucking me up because what kind of world have I been living in, have we been living in, if we were shown this lens of the country and the world and how Kamala Harris was going to save us? And clearly it fucking wasn't true. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the swing states, Georgia and Pennsylvania, like, what the fuck? I want fucking out of this matrix, man.
But you bought it, didn't you? By the way, Trump sent me this personally. He said, thanks to me and thanks to SHR. And with that, I want to say thanks to everybody who was here tonight. Thanks to Alan Thomas. Alan and I will be back. We're working on a major project right now where we have discovered someone who has been witness to us. He has had a Sasquatch sighting. And this is what Alan does. And we're working to see if perhaps we can get this guy, not necessarily in the studio, but to see if we can get him to call in and regale us with his tale. That may be an upcoming show. Alan will be here for at least another week. Alan, thank you so kindly for being here. It's not like you're going anywhere. Yeah. Okay. You're going to be here many, many times. And to everybody who has been here tonight, who has been watching my show, of the people that were watching the election show, more people watched on my X feed than anybody else. And I greatly appreciate all that, all the support. Thank you for going to shrmedia.com. Thank you for watching me when the channel is on. Thank you for going to the SHR Media YouTube channel. Thank you for going to KLRN and Rick over there. Great individual. Thanks to everybody for being in chat. Thanks to the support. We've now got Earl Jackson on the network here. We're really starting to move. I love being able to do video, bringing information to you. So everybody, it's been almost a half hour of overtime past my original slated 2 hours. I don't know if I'm necessarily interfering with something over at KLRN. Maybe I should have checked before I did this. But in any event, thanks to you. Now, Jack Alexander, is there anything that you'd like to say or wrap up in conclusion about you or any upcoming projects, or what do you want for Christmas?
What I want for Christmas is a green card.
For Christmas.
What I want for Christmas is a green card.
Yeah.
That's the simple thing. I don't know. Maybe the folks at KLRN have a spot for a producer or a host. Maybe that could help.
I didn't even think about that. That's perfect. That'd be a great idea. Are you serious? Because I may drop a message to someone. Someone. If you're serious.
You said they're in Oklahoma? I looked them up. They're in San Antonio. San Antonio? Yeah.
Oh.
Texas.
I think he's in Oklahoma, and he runs the shindig.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Look, I love living in Texas when I was there. I'll take San Antonio as much as Wichita Falls. Or anywhere else that's a freedom-loving state in the U.S. to work. As I said, the only option we apart from an employer-sponsored visa, the only option we've got left is the green card lottery. And as I said, we've got our entries in for this year, but that's for a 2026 entry if we get drawn and approved. But this is probably the last chance I've got of fulfilling my dreams of finally living out the rest of my life in the US, barring a lottery win of some description where I could literally buy my way into the country.
Well, everybody else has
on immigration, is it?
And they haven't paid any money. All they did basically is get their ankles moist in the Rio Grande, if that.
Yeah,
I have a feeling it won't be long, bro. I have a feeling it's not going to take long to get it all organized and straight.
With the change in government, I will once again explore not amnesty.
Hopefully, it doesn't cost us much money this time.
Well, that shit. I've got no money left. My entire life savings, the entirety of a couple of civil cases that went my way have been squandered trying for us to live this dream of coming to America. And it shouldn't be that hard. That's why I keep saying to any of these politicians that I come along. Why do you keep rewarding people for criminal behavior instead of making it easier and more appealing for people to do it legally?
Yeah.
Well, whatever you condone, you get more of. Whatever you ignore, you get more of. That's the nature of humanity right there. Jack Alexander, I'm going to have to go, but I want to say one thing, and then you and I can chat a little bit later. And that's this. Alan Thomas, by the way, has a very unique and interesting track record. And the track record is this. And that's that when he says that he has kind of a feeling about something, in many instances, it turns out that he's absolutely correct. Alan's going to be with me. I'm going to have to wrap up the show. I'm BZ. You're not. I know you wish you weren't, because who wants to be this fat, this old, this ugly, and this bearded? So let us continue and wrap up the continuance right now. Producer. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, thanks for listening to the Bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct right here on Rumble, on the SHR Media Group, and also on the SHR Media YouTube channel, X, Twitch, and any place essentially that good and wonderful and podcasts full of bulbosity as I present, you can find them. Conservative podcasts. Thanks to everybody. There were a ton of people in chat tonight, and I greatly appreciate it. Promotional consideration. Oh my God, producer, get up there. Promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, and also by Shure and Electro Voice microphones, and also by Arrakis boards, and of course, Pratt & Whitney dependable engines providing thrust you can trust. And also, I very much would like to say thanks to my personal KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I will be consorting in less than 10 minutes. It's about 50 feet out that door and about that way. A big bottle, maybe with Diet Squirt, something like that. Who knows? It could be anything. Everybody, thanks for being here tonight. God bless you all. Take care. Be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Night, everybody.
Night, Mama. Night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Tim Bob. Good night, Tim Bob.
Good night, Tim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night,
Tim
Tim
Bob.
Bob.
Good night and good luck.